Welcome to my NFL playoffs predictions. Here we're going to go through the wild card, divisional, championship, and Super Bowl prediction before anything is played. It is currently Wednesday, and we're about to get into this. Let's start off with the AFC. Cleveland Browns will be headed to Houston to take on the rookie sensation CJ Stroud and the Texans. This is going to be a very good matchup. CJ Stroud has been lighting it up, but he is missing arguably his favorite target in Tank Dell, who has been also rookie sensation before he got hurt. And not only that, their secondary has been getting a bit beat up lately, but the Cleveland Browns are coming in after resting most of their starters. They have who will most likely be the defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, and a tough top three defense in my opinion in the Cleveland Brown defense. Not only that, Joe Flacco, ever since he's been given the starting job after Deshaun Watson went down for the year, has been nothing but sensational, connecting phenomenally with Amari Cooper and David Njoku. Now, right here, you're going up against an elite defense, a rookie quarterback, right? He's gone against all odds. Even myself didn't think the Texans are going to be this good. I've always said CJ Stroud was going to be the best quarterback of this draft. Now, I do believe this moment will be too big for CJ Stroud, and I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns just because they have Joe Flacco, who we all know, as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, that he tends to turn it up a level when it comes to playoff time. This is why he is a Super Bowl champion, and he's on a team that very well could win it. I believe the Cleveland Browns have a good chance to be in the Super Bowl at least. I'll get into what they could do against teams like the Ravens and all the bigger teams, but the Cleveland Browns, in my opinion, will get through. Their defense is very elite. You're going up against a rookie quarterback without his best, receiver and his favorite target in Tank Dell. Now, he does have guys like Nico Collins. He does have a decent running game with Singletary, but I'm just going to say, and a good tight end in Schultz, but I do believe his, fairy tale run has come to an end. But the future is bright with the Texans. I do believe they are a couple pieces away and some developing in CJ Stroud, which this is going to be a very monumental moment for him because it's going to be his first playoff game. He's going to gain experience, and I do believe the Texans will be here again next year in the playoffs. Now, this leads us to the Miami Dolphins, who could have been divisional champions, but they end up losing to the Bills. Now they're going to Kansas City, where it's going to be extremely cold in the negatives, all right? Very cold, high winds. So I believe here the Miami Dolphins, who are used to the Miami weather, it's great weather out there. You're going into very harsh weather conditions in Kansas City. Now, the key of this, this possible win for the Miami Dolphins will be Tyreek Hill, who was used to it. He played in Kansas City not too long ago. Now, I do believe the running game will be the major factor in the running defense on both sides. I believe the Miami Dolphins have a very good run defense. Passing defense, not really. But when it comes to them stopping running backs, they are good at it. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs defense has also stepped it up, but the receivers have been very unreliable aside from Travis Kelce, who has had a down year, breaking his long streak of 1,000-yard seasons. I believe the Miami Dolphins will beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I do believe the running backs for the Dolphins are better than the Kansas City Chiefs. I do believe their O-line, when healthy, is better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And not only that, I do believe the run defense for the Dolphins is better. Now, this is all going to come down to the questionable players of their starting safeties and starting corners, but I do believe they will play because it is the wild card and they are desperate for a win. And I believe it's a down year for the Chiefs if they had a more reliable receiver other than Rashee Rice, who isn't bad, but they have Kadarius Toney, who is destined to have a tremendous drop in this playoffs that's going to cost them 7 points. Aside from Travis Kelce, if you can stop Kelce, they really don't have much of an air game aside from, Rashee Rice. But I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins to win this game. It's going to be very tough. It's going to come down to the wire, and the Miami Dolphins will upset the Kansas City Chiefs, who, I think this is a good thing for them because they need to go out there and find better receivers. They are leading the league in drops. It's terrible for Patrick Mahomes because he's such an elite quarterback, but he doesn't really have that reliable receiver aside from Travis Kelce. Now, this leads us to the next one. the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I'm a fan of, going up to Buffalo, another place that's going to have some bad conditions, but the Pittsburgh Steelers can do well. And you know, the thing is, ironically, you know, the most drops in the NFL is the Kansas City Chiefs. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers are, you know, up there for least dropped passes. You know, that just shows the wide receiver game. I really do blame it more on George Pickens and Deontay Johnson being, you know, injured for a decent amount of the season as well, because that man drops more passes than many receivers out there. He's like Darius Toney when it comes to drop passes and attitude. I do understand he did have that important touchdown against the Ravens, the 71-yard tub, but I am not a big fan of Deontay Johnson. But George Pickens, yes, aside from his attitude after losing games. But the Pittsburgh Steelers will be headed to Buffalo. Now, Buffalo has been up and down. They were 6-6 at one point, but they end up 11-6. You know, they did beat some big teams, but I do believe here the Buffalo Bills will end up winning. It's inevitable. I do believe the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they would have TJ Watt, would make it a lot more entertaining, and I do believe they would cause a lot of havoc with TJ Watt against Josh Allen, who has had a down year, tons of turnovers. You know, against Miami, he literally had back-to-back interceptions in the red zone, and then he has a fumble in the red zone, and then he has a, you know, right before half, he has a play in the red zone that ends up on the 1 yard line. You run out of time. So he basically was playing to lose in the first half. Second half, he obviously turns it up. But in the first half, Josh Allen was not playing winning football. And he got extremely lucky. The Miami Dolphins, for most of the game, you know, in the whole third quarter and most of the fourth, had only one first down until that last drive where they were kind of, you know, heading in the right direction. But Miami Dolphins offense completely turned off. Now, the Bills here win. It's going to be really the only home field advantage team that wins in the AFC. Kind of crazy. But let's go back to the NFC, where we have the Philadelphia Eagles playing the Buccaneers. Now, I would play the Eagles, but from going 10-1 to and then ending up with 11-6 record is extremely sad. It's like, oh, you'd be like, oh, they played extremely good teams. Well, why didn't they beat the Giants? Jeez. They did lose to some mediocre teams, and now the Philadelphia Eagles are here in the 5th seed, losing out to the Cowboys when it comes to, you know, getting that home field advantage. Now from the 2nd seed that they could have had, like the Dolphins, they end up in the 5th seed, and now the Cowboys are looking extremely well, and the Eagles not as much, even though everybody had the Eagles, you know, a couple months ago being the best team in football. And now I have them losing to the Buccaneers because the problem that the Eagles have been having is the air game. And what has the Buccaneers have? They have a decent air game with really good receivers in Godwin and Mike Evans, who Mike Evans is one of the best. You know, he's going to go down as a legend in the NFL history once it's all said and done, which he's one of the most underrated receivers in my opinion. You know, he gets it done with Winston, he gets it done with Brady, he gets it done with Baker Mayfield. Nothing but 1K yard seasons with that guy. Now, this lead, and, you know, it's a very beat-up Eagles team as well, and if they were more healthy and came in a lot better, you know, I know you got your head coach out here saying, oh, when you're down, this is when you have to get up. No, man, you have too many injuries, too many mediocre players. You've lost around, you know, 8 starters from last year to this year. It's absolutely, you know, it's a very different team, and now this Philadelphia Eagles team is going to fall down, and changes will come. There's a lot of doubt in, you know, Jalen Hurts. He's one of the few players that I've seen gone from the head of the MVP race to being called, you know, mediocre. It's absolutely insane, and it's not all on Jalen Hurts. I do believe you got to look at the whole team in general. Tons of injuries as well. You know, A.J. Brown might be hurt. We don't know what's going on there, but I do believe the Buccaneers have home field advantage, and they have all the assets to win this game, and I believe they will beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this one's tough. This one's extremely tough. Lions versus Rams. These are two teams that could cause trouble. Stafford going back to Detroit, and, you know, Goff playing LA again. Now, it's very cool because Matthew Stafford promised Detroit that he was going to win a playoff game in Detroit. Now he's playing for the Rams, playing in Detroit, so he can very well deliver on that promise, but it's going to come with Detroit Lions tears. But this explosive offense from the LA Rams won't be enough because I have the Detroit Lions winning. I believe, you know, the Rams have had all their success. They've hit extremely well in the draft with mid-round picks in Kyron Williams and Puka Nakua. Sorry if I mispronounced his name, but this Lions team is different. That defense is different. Amon St. Brown is different. That running game is different. The O-line is great. Jared Goff has done well this season, and I believe too many things have aligned for the Detroit Lions to not win this game, and it would be extremely sad for this Detroit Lions if they can't win a playoff game with this team. Dan Campbell's the perfect coach for this team, and they've done an excellent job rebuilding ever since they traded Stafford and all these other players that they also traded. They've hit well in the draft, and I believe the Detroit Lions are finally going to have a year where they're going to be in the conversation for a Super Bowl, and that's what these people deserve after years and years of mediocrity. Even though you've had amazing players like Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate, you've had Matthew Stafford, tons of great players, and you haven't managed to win a playoff game. This year's the year you're going to do it against a former Detroit Lions legend in Matthew Stafford. It's going to be heartbreak no matter what for Detroit on that day that they play the Rams. Now, this one's cool. This is a good matchup. Script writers went crazy on these two with the Detroit and Rams, but the Packers playing the Cowboys yet again. Jordan Love, who could be the third franchise quarterback in a row that the Green Bay Packers hit on. 2 months ago, he was going to be the Packers weren't sure if he was the future, and now everybody's saying no way the Packers have hit it on another franchise quarterback. Now, the Cowboys look really good. Many people, like haters like Stephen A. Smith, have said that the Cowboys haven't looked this good since 1995, and they won the Super Bowl that year. But am I going to say the Pack? No, I'm not going to say the Pack. I think the Dallas Cowboys here, I believe, are way too good this time. I believe Jordan Love still has to learn from these games. I do believe it's going to go down to the wire. I believe Jordan Love is going to be left with a drive when they're going to be down, around one scoring game. And it's going to come down to Jordan Love going down. It's going to be his first year doing it against the Cowboys, and he won't be able to get it done. I believe he's going to throw a pick, or he's going to, lose it on downs. And it's going to be a learning moment for him. He'll come back stronger. I do believe he is the franchise for the Packers. He's done well, the second half of the season. He's completely turned it around, and he's led the Packers to the playoffs. And I just believe the Dallas Cowboys here, it's their year to finally, possibly make the Super Bowl. They haven't looked this good in a while. I do believe the running game was better with Zeke, but obviously before the extension, he was a phenomenal on that rookie deal. Once he got extended, he was garbage. But Pollard has been a bit of a shell of himself from last year, but I believe it's decent enough to win you this playoff game, and I do believe Dak Prescott has gone up a level, and he should be in the MVP conversation. Definitely not win it, but at least get a mention in it. So I believe the Dallas Cowboys, and CeeDee Lamb has been absolutely great as well, but I believe the Dallas Cowboys do have enough to barely beat the Packers, and that's saying something. Then, this leads us to the AFC again. Browns will be going up to Buffalo. Now, this is going to be an extremely good game because, the Buffalo will have the advantage because it's home field, but the Browns have a really good defense. Josh Allen turns it over a bunch. And consider this, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and the Bills are going to beat the Steelers. The Browns and the Steelers, I just don't like the Browns, and I don't like Joe Flacco. But I believe this is destiny for Joe Flacco to win this game. And not only that, to go to Baltimore in the championship game. Because there's something about Joe Flacco this year that nobody is talking about enough. He has been phenomenal. It's like prime Flacco. It's throwback Tuesday every time Joe Flacco takes the field. He's throwing the ball beautifully. He's got a great team. He has all the advantage. And I believe here the Browns are going to beat the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Josh Allen has been absolutely terrible this year. Tons of turnovers. Obviously, he's got a lot of touchdowns. The offense does rely on him. And I just believe that this Browns defense has what it takes to punish Josh Allen for his turnovers, something that Miami could not do week 17. Now, the reason why the Ravens are going to beat the Dolphins, well, they absolutely dogged on the Dolphins. The Dolphins are very beat up with their two best pass rushers in Phillips and Bradley Chubb out for the year. Your defense, right now questionable in Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, Javon Holland, it's looking really bad for Miami. I understand Fangio has already got a taste of Lamar Jackson, and he could do well. I believe it would be a lot closer, But I just believe Lamar Jackson is on a mission this season. He's got Zay Flowers. He's got Odell Beckham Jr. He's got Isaiah Likely. I'm not sure what's going on with Mark Andrews, if he's going to come back or not. But I do believe this Ravens team is different, and they will make the championship game, receiving former Ravens legend Joe Flacco. Now, the NFC. Lions will be playing the Cowboys. It's going to be an extremely good game right here. And I'm going to say the Lions take this away. I believe, if the Lions can beat the LA Rams, they're going to go out and win they're going to go to a championship game. I just believe the Cowboys running game isn't good enough. It's an elite running game. You got two, running backs that could absolutely do bits with you in the Lions. You've got elite receivers. You've got a great tight end. I'm not sure what's up with his injury in Laporta. And then you got the Cowboys. You've got, a ton of, firepower with Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb. Just that running game is what's going to hurt them. The defenses are a bit even for me. Obviously, Diggs being out for the season hurts. But, Gilmore and Bland have stepped up. But that Lions team, I believe if they could just get that one playoff win, nobody's going to want to see him, and the Cowboys will lose this game against the Detroit Lions. Now, the 49ers will have a bye week against Baker Mayfield's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe it's going to be good enough for Baker Mayfield to land himself a decent contract if it's with the Bucs or whatever team he ends up doing it with, but it's going to be a good season for him. The Niners are just too good. Elite running game, elite receiving game. You've got a quarterback that does the right thing, a great game manager, and then you got an elite defense, a top 3 defense in my opinion, and you're going to win this game comfortably. I don't believe the Buccaneers will have a chance to win this game. I believe the Niners are going to come out firing. They're going to win this game like 31-21. They're never going to be in doubt throughout the whole game, and the Niners make the championship game. Now, we've got Cleveland versus Baltimore, Lions versus Niners. This is going to be amazing for the league. And right here, Joe Flacco gets his revenge. No home field advantage, any game. Joe Flacco goes into Baltimore and beats Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Because I believe if there's any defenses that can stop Lamar Jackson, it's the remaining Cleveland Browns, Lions, and Niners. Those are the only defenses that I could see that could stop Lamar Jackson if he's healthy with, the weapons he has now. And I believe Joe Flacco's going to come in and have an absolute revenge game and leave all Ravens fans heartbroken. He's going to beat the quarterback that he mentored in his last year in Baltimore when he had RG3 as well in the QB room in Lamar Jackson. And he's going to go to the Super Bowl yet again, leaving the Ravens with a sour taste in their mouth. But this leads us to the NFC, Lions versus Niners. Now, the Lions team is going to come out firing, but the Niners are due. The Niners are due, and they're going to win this game. The running game, like I just said, it's an elite running game with the two heads that they got for the running backs in Montgomery and Gibbs. But this 49ers offense is just out of this world. Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey, man, he's in the MVP conversation. Purdy, if he's healthy, this team will win the Super Bowl. You've got Kittle as well. In all areas, I believe the Niners are superior, but the Lions are right there. It's going to be a close game, one of those tough games. It's going to be a classic, but the Niners will come through as long as Purdy is healthy. It's going to be Niners, Cleveland in the Super Bowl. Now, phenomenal run for Joe Flacco. It's going to land him a decent deal if he doesn't retire, which I don't believe he will after this, Cinderella run. But as much as I don't trust Kyle Shanahan and all his chokes in the Super Bowls, with against the, leading 28-3, being the offensive coordinator when you lose to the Patriots as the Falcons. And then, what you do with the Niners in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, you're leading at one point 20-10. So he's finally going to get his ring, and it's going to be against an elite team in the Cleveland Browns, but I believe this will be the game that Joe Flacco gets a little exposed because this Niners defense and the team will be extremely hungry. The key is keep Brock Purdy alive, all right? The O-line will be responsible for that. If I see Sam Darnold at any point in this playoffs run for the 49ers come in, it's cooked. It's cooked. But if Brock Purdy's healthy, leads this team, manages the game because he does it perfectly well. He puts, Debo Samuel in positions where, I know they're just 5 yard screens most of the time, but he puts his receivers in positions where they can go out and make a play with the amazing blocking that the Niners have. So if you could keep your game manager alive, the 49ers will be Super Bowl champs. And it's going to be a great run for Cleveland. I believe Cleveland has a lot of numbers on the teams that they're going to face with the defense that they have, and a good game manager in Joe Flacco at the moment. Great receivers in Amari Cooper and Njoku. Decent running game with Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford, but it's going to be too much, and the Niners win the Super Bowl. Super Bowl MVP will be Christian McCaffrey. He's going to have a phenomenal game against that defense, and it's going to come down to just Brock Purdy being healthy. But anyways, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and make sure to leave a comment down below. Who do you think will win? Any upsets that I missed? But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.